So I had a couple of minutes faffing around there off camera just to get these knuckles down on the edge. What was happening was it was very straight across here like that, and I needed it to run off so that it sits more on the hand. It still needs a bit of work there. You can see how that rides off my little finger there. I want it to follow this curvature more elegantly, but we'll get to that when we do this piece. Now, what I tend to do is put these creases in to help marry it up. Marrying this and then getting the screw fixings in the right places is nigh on impossible. So what I tend to do is drop in a couple of these creases, and then you can see you're starting to rough out the actual mechanism for the knuckle movement as well. So first things first, let's get a wee crease in the back of that across the stake. Now I've made myself this little crescent shaped stake. You can see here it used to just be a bit of a flatter bit that I've carved down to this using grinders and things like I did with the hammer in a previous video. And what that does is it helps preserve the curvature of this plate that I want, so when it sits across the hand it's got a bit of a fall to it. In fact, it can be used sometimes to add a little bit more. I'll also show that you don't need this, just makes it a bit simpler, don't have to be quite so concentrating all the time. You can do it on the edge of the anvil as well. So what I'll do is I'll put the mark I want to follow just on the inside, and we'll push it over on this stake. Now we're only starting these off, so don't need to go nuts. Do it all the way down. You want to get the whole thing together before you do that. It's just to start things off. There we go. That's all I'm doing. Just adding that divot, so I've got something to work to. Don't over sharpen it, do anything like that, because you might be moving it in a minute. This goes wrong. What it starts to do is just give that crease something to work to. What you do, on to the next pair. See, I'm still going to have to bridge this gap in a bit, but we'll push on because this moves it around a bit. So just give it a little tweak in there. So I've got something to line up to. That seems a bit far. Wrong one. There we go. Just give that a push across on another stake. So there we go. Just going to put this in. Now this stake as well, you can see has a curve to it. Just helps keep that curvature in. So just rough in the position. Lift it off the stake that's resting on it. Lift it up a touch, because then that will help push that curvature in. And same again with this piece. I say, don't go nuts. Don't push them right in. Just have a quick check, see if it's working. There we go. It's coming together now, starting to lift that up into there. We'll put that crease in and that will pull that up. We should get away with it, but you can see how it's starting to pull itself together. Just remembered quickly before doing this off camera that I said I'd show how to use the edge of the anvil here. So it's on one of the rounded bits here, not sharp. You just take your hammer, whichever one you got, and just lift it off, otherwise it will just be flat. You can see there, look how it's already coming away. And roll that, there we go, and then just on this side. There you go, really straightforward. You just got to remember to roll things around, which on the stake you don't have to do, because obviously the stake's supporting the material as you're going. So that's all it is. So I'll carry on off camera, get this ready to be married up to the knuckles. So I've dropped those creases in there, just roughed them in, nice and easy. And what I can see is this is starting to fit. But you can see up here, look, I've got to lift that one up and pop him into there. Same on this side. But remember, this is only the shape it is, this knuckle piece, because it's the shape it is. I haven't put the two together. Now it's time to start making judgment calls on whether that's right. Hold on a second. Whether that's right or whether this is right. I think actually the knuckles are looking better there. That's going to rest hard on there, so I want them up a touch. And what you do is you just start to fit one to the other. Let me go and get that knuckle back. There we are. So you just start to fit one to the other. And I think I'm going to take this piece up, certainly on this knuckle here, into there. And what I do to make that happen is flip it over. Now, what's been revealed there is this piece obviously touching the knuckle. So that's going to hold it off. So get them vaguely lined up. Don't go mad when you're knocking this thing. Get the crease over the edge of the anvil and just start to work that in. I'm just going to knock that out, well out of the way. You can always lift it out again in a wee bit. You can see how that's changed everything there. So I want to put that crease and just get this knuckle up a touch more. Remember, don't forget this is creased, it's not flat to the anvil. There you go, and you can see how it's starting to come together. Now, if this ends up looking a bit flat when the two are together, I'm not bothered, because I'll just stick it in a vice and crush it. And then the two will be crushed down in tandem. This needs kicking down, this knuckle bit there needs tweaking that way a touch, so that it fits. There we go. It's got a nice layoff. The front of the knuckle there, I can see that's going to sit strongly on there. It's not sort of just teetering on the edge. That's going to be okay. I'm going to clip that off. I don't need it. There's going to be quite a bit of trimming coming out of this, but I'm going to clip that off for now. And that'll help this lie better again. There we go. And you just keep tweaking the piece. Keep a wary eye on the knuckle, on the finger parts at the front. Don't worry too much about it. As long as they're not doing anything peculiar, they can be made to work once this is all attached. Here we go. It's starting to come together now. A bit more work in there. Yeah, that's not bad. It's a bit flat on that line, but what I'll do is I'll get them working and I'll give them a crush. So I'll carry on doing this. I think I might actually give the whole thing a quick crush anyway, just to try and lift it that way a bit, make it look a bit more elegant. And then we should be just about there, ready for the screws. So, just about there. What's happening now is I've got a bit of a 90 in here. Sort of runs and just falls straight off. It's kind of mirroring that as well. I don't like it. It should be a bit more gracious. Now this is a lot longer than it will be. It'll be cut somewhere around that region. And you can see here I've started to try and figure out where the rivet's going to be. It's in this back position there, so that it can be made and manufactured in this nice falling position but it can have that point back there so that it can be hinged back nicely. But it's just a bit 90s here, a bit 90 degrees. I don't really like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and figure out where that's going to go, screw fix them together, sort that curvature out, and then I can show how we can marry these two plates together a lot easier once we've got that screw in place. I've attached the knuckles to the knuckle plate, or the back plate, whatever you want to call it, and I can see I'm fairly happy with the fit of the back here. It starts to drift off over here, but that's why I've done this first, because it really starts to reveal where all the work's at. Now what I do now is I get a stake into the back here and just start to marry them up. It's quite straightforward. You can see how they don't quite marry at the moment, but that's no big deal. That's why we put them in gently. It's just to help get that in there. But I can see, looking at that, we've got a nice fall of the knuckle off this back plate. So we're on track. So anyway, let's get these two married up. The stake underneath, I'll show you how I do that, and then we'll take it from there. So remember, I'm just trying to get this in there. I can see straight away that this is on that angle and that is on that angle. So the two are interfering with one another. The back here is probably a bit out. There's a lot of excess material there. Just get it out of the way. Not interested in what it's doing at the moment. There we go. Now I can see they're not so far apart anymore. Or at least they are as far apart as they were, but I can see that they'll fit. So getting that crease up into one of these and just starting to work it into it. There we go. Okay, you can see, look how much difference that's made straight out of the park. Okay, I can see that my crease on this piece is a bit in. I want it more that way. So as I did before, flip it over. I'll do it on the stake here to save monkeying about with the camera and so on. Just grab that hammer, get it on there, get that material into where we need it to be. It's starting to look like a bit of a dog's dinner, but that doesn't matter. You can see, look how I've moved that across, and it's just about fitting now. Probably well enough for me to get the screw in the other side. So I don't want the metalwork coming beyond my hand, otherwise I wouldn't be able to grip a sword. So it's not too long there, but it's a bit long. So I want my a bit higher, I think, just about there. And also think of the lay of the hand. A hand in a child's drawing sort of looks like a tree with no leaves. It just sort of appears when you're done. But what is on a real hand is the position is a bit more like that to the wrist. This finger running straight to the forearm. A lot of armour is built with that in it. So build it with that in it now, then when you put your slides in, it'll be able to move either way. So the knuckles, if the hand's going straight up, I don't want the knuckles up here. I want them on that slight curve, and it will start to elegantly follow the lay of the hand. So when I'm putting these in, I need to think of that. Don't want it up here. I want it down here a bit, because that will draw the whole hand around. So I'll get that in, mark it up on there, and hopefully we should just about be done. So we go. All I've done is drilled that other hole, popped it in. Now all of this is going to change. It's a bit bugly at the minute, it's a bit long. We'll get to that when we start figuring out the fingers and so on. At the moment, concentrate on this bit. Don't start getting rabbit holed down things that don't matter at the moment. Now, you can see now, just want to give that a little touch in. And what you do is generally just work your way across all the knuckles, get it over the edge of the stake. and just marry things up. If it drifts away a little bit like it is just here, like it is just there, pinch it down, get some support if you need to, put the screw in tight, and now when you do the work there, the metal will be pulled to where it needs to go. 8 times out of 10. You can do this the other way around. Sometimes you need to. What I mean by that is, one sec. Take a hammer with a chisel and work it from the inside. Just depends which one's going to work for you. A bit cack-handed up here. I'd normally do it down here, but you won't be able to see. There we go. Let's have a look. That's the job. So you can see we've got a nice fall to the knuckles and not much, but a little bit of movement off the back. You've got to remember we're going to put sliding rivets in under here, so as that goes like that they'll be able to move into that, and these creases are going to be tracing off back across the hand, so at the minute where they're binding here there'll be a gap and it'll be able to come back all the more, move into a fluid motion. But there is the beginnings, or the rudimentaries of how you attach your knuckles to the knuckle plate, the back plate, whatever it's called. I'm sure it has a proper name. I'm just a guy that hits the metal, I don't know the names of these things. And we'll tidy up round here, make that a bit smoother. But there you go, pretty straightforward. Don't need too many specialist tools, but they do help and they do speed things up in this instance. So best of luck to you, and I hope you've enjoyed that and can continue making your gauntlet if you're following it along.